Hold on. Oh, yeah, I'm just going to shut up.
All right, everybody. I'm going to mute while Jess is talking, but just wanted to welcome you to our Tribe Redefined and Team Fit Dynasty Coach Collective. It is February 3rd. It is the first Monday of the second month of this decade of this year. Had J-Lo playing for obvious reasons, but I liked that song because what we do for other people doesn't have to cost anything. I know that's corny, but it's true. When we make connections with people, when we show up for them, it's valuable to them, and it really doesn't cost us anything. And keep that in mind. I'm going to be talking to you about time blocking, what I recommend, and hopefully that can be of use to you as well, and you realize that that doesn't cost anything either. I'm going to mute, though, because there's a lot of cooking happening. It's super loud. I'll let Jess go and do her thing, and I'll be back unmuted when it's my turn.
All right, guys. Welcome to our monthly Team Fit Dynasty and Tribe Redefined group call. Thank you for joining us. So really quick, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things and give a little bit of tough love, but instead of just dropping like a tough love truth bomb, and if you were on the national wake-up call this morning with Autumn, she dropped several truth bombs. She just does not give an F. I was laughing but I mean, it's good. But I want to be able to kind of talk about something, a topic, and then instead of just laying it out there, work through it with you guys, and maybe if you can collaborate and ask you a question and you can respond by talking or in the chat thread, and we can talk through it to identify where the problem is and then help solve it together. And what Pam and I and other leaders on the team can help you to be better and to grow as leaders and coaches. So number one, before I get into that, obviously it's a big month, Team Cup month in February. I'm super excited about it for my personal business and for my team's business and then our whole downline. We have several teams, and it's just, we've talked about it a ton, but it's such a really great opportunity to work together collectively towards a goal versus just working by yourself. Like, yes, we're always on a team, but there's something different about it. And for anyone else that's been on a team in the past, you know what I'm talking about, where you're working together towards a common goal, and it pushes you a little bit, right? Because you're not just working towards your own goals, you want to help the team win, and it's just a different feel. It's really fun. You get to know a lot of other women on the team a little better, and it's just good all around for you personally to grow as a coach and then to grow your business and hopefully to make a little bit more money in February as well. Yes, I agree with that. I think it is so much better to have a team. I think we push each other in a good way to kind of, and it's kind of similar to running a challenge group where when you're working towards your own fitness goals on your own, it's hard to show up for just you, but when you have to show up for you plus a group of other people who are depending on you, you'll always show up. And I think maybe that's being a woman, and we're always willing to go the extra mile for people we care about and for people around us, and sometimes we put ourselves second, but it's so true. And I think the same thing goes with our business that does with our challenge group and our health and fitness, that we'll show up for our business when we're collectively working together because we don't want to disappoint anybody else in our group that we might not do on our own. So I totally agree with that, and I'd be willing to set something up like that in the future. But tonight, before Pam goes into time blocking, I just wanted to touch upon Success Club for a minute, because I think and we've talked about this before, we get bogged down with the points, and it's not about the points, it's about the people, right? And we talk about this often, how we don't want to focus on how many Success Club points. Like, yes, that's how we measure, but we want to remember that those points, 2 points equal 1 life, right? And that that person that we're helping directly might represent 4 more lives of her family behind her, right? Or him, usually it's her. But so our reach is so far, and I want to make sure we're focusing on the people. But with that being said, it is a benchmark for a reason. And the reason why it's Success Club 6 or 10, so helping 3 or 5 people, is because if you can consistently do that, it's recognized that if you can do that and then retain those customers on something, either Energize or Shakeology moving forward, it's a really great way to build a strong foundation for your business. So if you're on this call tonight, that means you want something a little bit more than just holding yourself accountable. It's a little bit more than hopefully helping a couple of people along the way. If you're spending your Monday or Wednesday night or a Friday night, the last night of the month, like doing 100 invites, it probably means you want to build a business, right? Which was super awesome, by the way, the people that did that. So where my truth bomb, my tough love comes in is, Josiah said it the other day, Success Club 6 has to be the bare minimum if we want to build a business. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because most of us that hit are on this call. But when we're bringing in our new coaches, it's not just for the recognition piece from Beachbody or to have your name up on the board. It's because there's a proven formula behind it that corporate put together, that if we can bring on 3 to 5 new people every single month and retain 2 out of those 3 and consistently do that month after month after month, we're going to have a solid volume foundation to earn an income, right? To be able to build a foundation to pull coaches up that were challengers that are now going to be coaches to help build our organization. So there's a reason why they have that. So again, like Josiah said, if you're building a business, and she paid off $72,000 in debt, she's like, you have to invite more than 3 people a day. And I love when she said that, because it's just being so real. Like, yes, it's awesome. And if you can consistently invite 3 people a day, like, that's really great. It's a great place to start. But if you have really big goals for yourself in this business, it's got to be more than that. Success Club 6 has to be a non-negotiable. Now, I'm going to say this, that I haven't hit Success Club every single month. So I'm not saying if you miss it 1 month or 2 months or 3 months out of the year that you're a failure, because that's not what I mean, because I've totally been there. I've worked and I've missed it. And then I've also not worked and I've missed it where it was my own fault. But my point is that if you're hitting it most of the months, if you missing is just a fluke thing, you put in the work, but the cards didn't fall the right way. But then, I saw today, Robin had 2 challenge packs over the weekend. And I know that didn't come from work she did on February 1st to February 3rd. It came from work that she did in December and January. And it just happened that the people bought in the month of February. Sometimes we can't control that, you guys. And that's what I mean by this, is that I don't mean you're a failure if you don't hit Success Club 1 month, but it really needs to be a consistent goal, and knowing that it's okay if you miss it once in a while. But if we're here to build a business, if we're here to take our business to the next level, it's got to be the minimum requirement. And it's what we have to be teaching our coaches too that want to join the business, that if we're doing this to build a team of our own, to earn an income from this, we have to start there. And I think if we can consistently hit Success Club 6, it's hard to say that fast over and over. Once you hit 6, then okay, I've been doing 6 for 3 months. Let's up it to 8. Let's see if I can help 4 people this month. And then, I helped 4. Maybe I can help a 5th person. I think pushing it a little bit further. Now, personally for me in January, my goal was to help 10 people. I fell short and I helped 6 people. I worked up until the very end. I was sending messages on the last day, late, trying to get more. And you know what? It didn't happen. And I know that I can just take that and learn from it and work harder in February to hit my goal. But having that goal of 20, and I think what really helped me, Success Club 20, helping 10 people, is that last week I was at 6, I think late last week. And that's when I decided to do that flash sale. And I was like, okay, I have to make something happen. But I learned, and working from Josh, is even if you're having an off month, don't change the goal, change the activity. So I kept the goal of 20 the whole time and knew that I pushed, and because I could have just been like, you know what, I hit 6, I hit it, I hit Success Club, I hit the benchmark, like I'm good, and I could have stopped. And that's what I used to do in the past. And then I would kind of take a break, and then February 15th would come in and I'd be at 0 again, and like, oh no, I have to start working again and start inviting again. And I was on this roller coaster. Whereas now I say, okay, January, it was a huge month for health and fitness. I'm going to set my goal big. I want to be helping 10 people, Success Club 20. But then on January 24th, I was at Success Club 6. Again, I kept the 20, and that's what I would encourage you guys to do. If you set a big goal, don't water down the goal because you're not there, even if it's January 29th or February, the second half of the month. Keep the goal there and increase your activity, because you'll come closer than you would if you just give it and lower it. And I've learned that the past couple of years. And I've also learned something else, is never hold off. Like, say you hit Success Club and it's January 31st and someone comes to you and says, I really want to buy a challenge pack. Jessica, in the first year or 2 in her business, would say, okay, we'll buy it tomorrow. Because I hit Success Club in January 30th and January, and I hit 6, and I know I need to hit it again in February. So I'm like putting my goals on these people and holding them back a day. And I know it's not a big deal today, but it is a big deal, because we don't need to, first of all, don't sell yourself short and think if you put this person in January and you hit Success Club 8, say, instead of having 6 in January and then starting off February 1st with Success Club 2, like ahead of the game, I feel like that's selling yourself short because you think in your head that you have to hold people back. You have a, what's it called? What's the mindset called? A scarcity mindset, where you think there's not enough people. So you're like, okay, I'm going to satisfy my own goals, hold this person back from Beachbody On Demand and Shakeology for a day because I want to hit my goals. Like, that's something I just want to remind you guys. When somebody comes to you and wants to sign up, do not ever wait and hold them back because of your personal goal, right? Sign them up as soon as they come to you. It's so important because it's their journey, not yours. The points are just a bonus for us, right? That's how we get recognized. That's how we get paid. But that's not why we do this, first and foremost. So I want to, now that I gave you that piece, I want to identify what the issue is, because it's one of 2 things or 3 things. 1, we're not inviting enough people. I talk about this to death. It's a numbers game. We talk about this all the time. Or you are inviting enough people, but you're not constructing the conversation in a way where it's a buying environment, or you're never asking for the sale or closing, like in the sales world, like that. You're never asking for it, because you can talk and talk and talk about it till the cows come home. But if you never then ask, okay, and they're like, oh, this is great. And then you don't go, okay, like here's the link to sign up, or this is how it works. If you don't explain what it is and then invite them to do it with a link, you didn't do your whole job. And I'm not sure, and if you guys want to drop it in the chat, do you think it's you're not inviting enough people? And be honest, like, I'm not here to yell at you if you're not doing enough invites, because I can be doing more invites myself. But is it more you think you're not inviting enough people, or maybe you're recycling and inviting the same people? Because that's another thing where you have this list and you keep following up. A follow-up does not count as an invite. It's a follow-up, right? That's a different category. So if you invite someone once, and then 2 weeks later you invite them again, don't count that as an invite. That's a follow-up of your previous invites. And I think that's a hamster wheel that I used to get on too. And it makes you feel good because you're checking off the box, but it's not a new person. It's not going to really move us forward. We're either going to say, maybe they'll say yes eventually, but if we don't find new people to connect with and invite, we're never going to consistently hit Success Club. So if anybody wants to add anything, you can unmute yourself. And finally feeling like I'm finding my people. That's so true. Recycling, not enough in recycling. We should do so. Okay. Yeah. So I think being really honest with yourself when you're writing down your invites and tracking how many people you're inviting, maybe it's, okay, I'm going to invite 3, even if the number is small and it's 3 truly new people a day. It doesn't have to be 10 new people a day. It could be, maybe I'll do 3 new invites to my challenge groups and follow up with 2 people. That's the old list of invites, right? And then not only invite to challenge groups, but also invite to the coaching opportunity. And I think that's where we've talked about in the past, where a lot of us are having like a sticking point and feeling comfortable enough to talk about that part. And setting a goal and saying, okay, I'm going to get on the phone with 2 people this week to talk about coaching. So 2 people that say they're interested, we're going to either get on a Zoom call, meet in person, or do it on the phone. And I'm going to practice talking them through, what it means to join my team of fitness coaches and to see if they want to sign up too. So those are a couple of important things. Those are the numbers part of it. However, when you finally are in the position to invite someone, and I just want to go through what my process is, and hopefully you can take something away, or if you want to add something, is first, there's sometimes when I've invited right out of the gate, and I feel like it's a self-awareness thing where you can tell someone's interested and they maybe comment a certain way, or they're like, oh, I wish I can do this, but I'm not motivated to work out at home. Say someone messages me that, like, you're so inspiring, but I could never work out at home. And then just ask them, like, why do you think that? Why do you think you can't work out at home? Ask questions, and then they'll tell me, oh, I just feel like I get bored and I'll give up. And if I have to work out at home, I'll go do the laundry, they'll give you some excuse of why they think they can't work at home. And then I share with them, like, I used to think that the same thing. I used to think I was a gym person and I had to go to a gym to get a good workout in, and share my experience. We talk a little bit about it. And then they're like, you know what, you're right. And I'm like, and that's what sets us apart, is the accountability piece. So I don't just throw a DVD at you or the program and say, good luck, bye, like you bought it. That's not what this is. That's when our job starts. You get Beachbody On Demand. You get plugged into a community where we're going to check on you. We're going to hold you accountable, and we're going to motivate you to stay on track. And then you're going to then develop your own habit and your own discipline, and then you're not going to be able to live without it. And there you go. You learned how to work out at home, right? And have that conversation. And like, you know what, you're right. Or, so I think it's like the art of the conversation and having a genuine, not me in my head thinking I have to make a sale out of this. It's let's talk this person through why they think this one way, why they're pigeonholed into thinking that they can't get a good workout at home and they're not motivated, and how maybe you experience that, or a challenger experience it, or someone and how it's all mental. It's all up here. Like, they don't need to walk into a gym and pay $70 a month to get a good workout in. That's in their head. So once they learn how to change their mindset around it and get past that and understand that they can get a good workout in, but it's all about your mindset. It's all about creating discipline. It's all about having that accountability. And once they realize that we have all those things, and we have all those things for less money that they're currently paying today, or for a good value if they're not going to a gym, and then right there say, you know what, you think this is a good idea, I think you would really like it. Have you ever thought about joining one of my boot camps? And sometimes we'll say, no, I don't know if it's for me, but it's okay. And I always let people know, like, I totally understand. Maybe I'll try to overcome an objection depending on what it is. Or maybe I say, you know what, I'm always here. Like, if you ever have any questions, let me know. Or if you want to decide that you want to join later, let me know anytime. They go on the list, and then it's a follow-up. If we've already invited them once, that's never a new invite. So I want you guys to remember that. So when you're all excited, I invited 20 people. Were they truly 20 new people? And I do it all the time. So I'm not like pointing a finger, but that's where we have to be honest with ourselves. And if we can genuinely do 3 new people a day, that's a huge, huge win. And then we'll have a giant follow-up list. But that's really all I wanted to say today is, if you guys want me to look at a conversation, like I've helped Melissa, like I've had her screenshot me some things and send it to me, and then say, hey, why don't you try taking this out and adding this there? Or let's talk it out over the phone. Like, let's go through a conversation and role play. Like, it sounds corny, but it's very helpful to learn how to talk through it and to take some feedback of how that conversation can go better. But I'm always willing to do it. I know Pam would do the same. But ask questions to the people who are consistently hitting Success Club, because they're doing something right? Yes, and this is the thing. All of you guys show up every day. So I know that's not the problem. It's not that you're inconsistent in showing up for you. You're not inconsistent with sharing your journey. There's some miss, and it's either the number of invites you're sending or the quality of the conversations that you're having, and that you're not asking for the sale. And this is the other thing. I was talking to my friend about this, who is in another type of sales, and she was saying to me, I feel like it's just that I'm not a salesperson, and I'll go and I can talk to people and they love me when I'm there in their office, and they'll sit and talk to me for 2 hours and offer me free treatments and this and that. And then I leave and get in my car and go, oh my gosh, I didn't even ask them to buy when I'm selling, which is my job. And here's the thing. When we walk into Verizon, this is an example I'm going to use, and we're there, we're talking about a phone. Wouldn't we think it'd be weird if the Verizon person spends an hour with us and talks about the new iPhone but never asks us if we're going to buy it? Like, we expect that question. When we're talking about something that they know that we represent, it's an expectation that we say, okay, we talked about it, you bought it and said you liked it, you think this would be great. Why don't we give it a try and get you started? If you don't ask for the business at the end, it's like that whole hour never even happened. So that's an important piece. And I think people get nervous, that they feel like it's just human nature to be afraid of the rejection, to think, oh, they're probably not going to want this, or I don't want to seem too pushy. But if you're coming from a place of being a consultant to teaching them something, telling them that you really think that this would be helpful in their lives and being genuine about it, which I know you all are, so I'll have to have that conversation. It's not coming from an icky place. It's not, hey girl, you should totally join my Roden and Fields team. And you're like, who are you? What? Like, no, it's not like that at all. It's, hey, you presented this problem to me. I have a solution for your problem. And it's just getting that tool into that person's hand. And I want you guys to remember that and to get into that mindset that when you're having a conversation, it's just a natural progression to ask. And again, if you hear no, that go for no, right? That's what they say, go for no, because you're going to hear a lot of no's in any type of business that you work in, but that's how you get to the next step, is going through all those no's and finding those yeses. And the last thing I want to say before Pam goes is that you probably all saw this, but it really made me want to cry. Demi Lovato tweeted 10 years ago that she tweeted and said, I'm going to sing at the Super Bowl one day. And she slayed it last night, singing at the Super Bowl. And I love that, because 10 years, you guys, it makes me want to cry. She's worked her butt off and been through a ton personally, and she still found a way to find her way back and reach that goal, that dream of singing at the Super Bowl and doing it was incredible. And that's what I want to remind you of, is that, this business, goals in this business, we try to put a time on it, and Rachel Hollis always says is that sometimes big goals you can't really put a timestamp on, because they take a long time. They take a long time of consistent work, hard work, of putting in that effort, and it might not happen in a year. I've been doing this for 6 years. I'm at my goal, almost 6 years, 5.5. But you keep plugging away over time, and you can work, and it's kind of like that example where water doesn't turn into ice until 32 degrees or whatever it is. So at 33 it's still really, really cold, but right at that 32 degree mark then things start to freeze. And that's kind of the same thing or the opposite way, it's ice and then it turns to water. That's the same thing with us. We can be working and feel like we're not making any progress, even though the thermometer is still going down. But then once it hits it goes over from 33 to 32, that's where it changes. And I want you guys to remind yourselves of that when you're in the trenches and you feel like you're putting in this work and not seeing the result, that you just need to keep going. However, if you feel like you need help in an area and you need something tweaked in your messaging or your social media, come to us. Come to a leader. Come to someone who's been doing this and ask questions. We're all happy to help. And that is it. That's all I have for tonight. So great job to everybody who hit Success Club in January. I'll be announcing it this week. I was just waiting for it to filter out because it changes sometimes, but that is all for me.
Hello, everyone. Kaden, I just started, babe. 1 second, please. Okay. I wanted to talk about time blocking because I know that's something that is current and everybody should be getting moving on that. I'm going to try to keep it as quick as I can. And if I have to come in and do a live video, I will, because I really wanted to save time for an invite challenge tonight as well, since it is Team Cup. But anyway, I shared in Tribe Redefined, and I can send you guys if you'd like. Careful, baby girl. My daughter had massive amounts of stitches in her foot this weekend, and she's hopping around. So pardon me if I'm a little jumpy. Anyway, but I shared a document that I would be happy to share with you guys in Team Fit Dynasty if you'd like as well. But it's a time blocking template, and you can easily make this. And if you have a planner, that's great. I just wasn't happy with any of mine. My Rise Up planner is lovely, but it's just a bulky thing to carry around. But I scheduled it for the times that I'm awake. I did hour-long slots. It starts on Wednesday and ends on Tuesday, because that's what I do for my tracking for my team when we're sharing our trackers, and goes from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. But on the back of each day, I have a review of last week's goals, time blocking evaluation, my top 3 priorities for this week, actions I can take, and my PD takeaways, so that I can keep track of all of that in one spot. And they kind of relate to the tips that I'm going to share today and why this is important. In fact, I'm going to keep this available so that I can reference it in a second. Let me get back to my notes, because now I turned my page. But anyway, this kind of stems from, as I'm seeing everybody share their time blocking and their trackers and this and that, just making sure that what we're doing with that actually makes sense. So I came down with 7 tips that I think are important. Time blocking and making sure you have a schedule and have your work hours and your family hours is just the beginning. But what that actually looks like and what you do with it is really, truly important. So my first tip of 7 is that your time blocking should reflect your goals. That's why you need to identify your goals every week, for that week, from that month, and from that year. And that's where your time blocking should go. If it's the last week of the month and you haven't hit Success Club, then your time blocking should reflect massive amounts of invites. It reflect massive amounts of follow-ups. It shouldn't reflect a free group about knitting. It just shouldn't. Like, that's not going to help you at that moment. So making sure that your time block reflects your goals. There is time for all of those things we enjoy and love to do and share, but we need to make sure that if we're writing it down, it's worthy of our time and it's worthy of our efforts. The next thing you want to do is be specific. So a couple of people posted their time blocking schedules, and it's like work, school, family time, workout, whatever. Get specific. Get truly, truly specific. So when it says it's your work time, tell me what you are doing in that hour, half hour, 20 minutes, whatever it is. I just wanted to share with you, for me, because I work. So I'm a teacher. I have a rotating schedule. If you can see this, anything that's pink is Beachbody related. Anything that's green is me. Anything that's orange is school. Anything that's blue is like a random event or a kid's sporting event, okay? But in my pink for today, it said power hour at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. workout, and I crossed it off and changed it to meal prep because I didn't do that yesterday. I have all my classes written in. After school, I have team page written down because that's when I focus on loading my team page posts for the week. Right now I have challenge group. I have team call on here. Tomorrow I have my live video scheduled. I have a time slot for follow-ups and for my news feed, for going through my news feed and all my notifications. I have a time block for more follow-ups, and then I have a time block for my massive invites. And I have that written down just for these 2 days, very specifically what I'm doing. I have written down power hour, and what I do is plug in, and Teresa has a power hour playing every morning at that time, and that person tells me what to do. But it's never just work. It's never just school. It's grading. It's class 2, and we're in the media center. It's specific. And it's really important that you're specific, or else you're going to spend half the time you have time blocked looking at your to-do list, deciding what's important, going through notifications, and just wash, rinse, and repeating the same basic activities. Or you'll default to the ones that are super simple, going through your challenge group for the 100th time that day, refreshing your Instagram feed, looking at everyone's stories. You're just going to do the same thing. So making sure you schedule that. And I'll talk more about what to schedule. My third tip is to schedule unplugged time and to honor it. I was really clear about doing that this week, ever since we met with Jasira last week. I've always said it, and I have an alarm that goes off on my phone that it's unplugged time, and then I ignore it. Like, I just ignore it. But I wrote it down, and every single day where it's green, I am unplugging. And I really am. I was hardly on Instagram this weekend. I was hardly on Instagram today, and it felt really good. And you're much more productive in your life when you can do that. Those messages, you will respond to them when it's your time. That's why, Stephanie, you came on with that question, because it wasn't my time yet to respond to my messages. And making sure you have that abundance mindset. You're not going to lose the sale if someone messages you in the middle of your unplugged time and you don't get back to them. And if you do lose that sale, they're not your people, because they're not respecting the fact that you have a family as well, or you have a job, or you have whatever commitments you have. Respect your boundaries. Have time to focus on your messages, have time to focus on your team, have time to focus on your challenge groups, and have time to focus on your family and yourself, and make sure you hold to that. We don't have to document everything. We do not. We really do not. And you don't have to respond instantly. Number 4 is a couple of things that you need to include in your time block when you're getting specific. You need to include personal development. So in the morning when I wake up, I have a podcast or my audiobook ready to play while I'm getting dressed, while I'm making my energize, while I'm doing those things. And I make sure I also schedule time to implement it. So I don't implement every single day. I would spend my life implementing because I love listening to podcasts and doing that stuff. And I have a real problem. I don't know if you're like this, but if I hear something new, I want to go and share about it. If I hear a good idea for a class activity, I'm changing my lesson plans in 5 minutes and I'm doing that new activity. I have a real hard time slowing down and not implementing right away. So implementing for me saves me from constantly reinventing myself and constantly trying to play catch up, because I cannot touch it until that time. Perhaps you're the opposite, and perhaps you are a collector. You collect all the information and do absolutely nothing with it. I think we kind of fall into one of those two camps. And if you're a collector, scheduling that implementation to share what I learned in my PD this week, that's what you can do. You can have a way to kind of dump it out. Maybe it's sharing something in Team Fit Dynasty's page or Tribe Redefined's page. Maybe it's creating a challenge group post that relates to your personal development. Maybe it's taking 10 minutes and actually watching a YouTube training on that app that Jenna Kutcher talked about that you really wanted to learn about. But scheduling that implementation of your PD is going to make PD more meaningful to you and actually make it helpful and give you something to share. The last thing in tip 4 of what to include is you need to include project time in your schedule. If you like to make graphics, you're going to make graphics whenever you want, and you're not going to do the invites because it's much prettier and much more fun to make graphics. If you don't like to make graphics, or you don't like to write posts, or you really think you have writer's block and you suck at that, you're never going to do that, and you're going to dilly-dally and do other things. We need to schedule that kind of stuff as well. I have on here very specific project times. Like I was saying, at one point I'm doing all my challenge group posts and my team call posts for the week, or team posts for the week. At another time, I'm going to create my newsletter and I'm going to create any graphics. I'm going to create my recognition at a certain time. And I have that on there. It keeps me remembering to do that stuff. And it also keeps me from like, well, it's time to do my invites, but I'd much rather make this picture because it's super pretty and fun to play on Lightroom. No, it's not. It's not fun to play on Lightroom if I'm not building a business. No one cares about what my pictures look like if I'm not building a business. So schedule that project time and don't use it as an excuse. And don't forget about it either. It's important. So have that on your calendar as well. 1 hour a day or 1 hour a week is all you need for all that stuff. Okay, number 5, stay accountable. In in Tribe Redefined, we started on Tuesday nights sharing a picture of our tracker because we have our Wednesday morning accountability calls, and it's really helpful. And people are starting to share the picture of their time blocking as well. That's one way you can stay accountable. If you have a success club partner or success partner, then you can make it a point to check in with each other every couple of days on how your time blocking is going. You can schedule a time to touch base with that person on your schedule, right? Make it a time blocking thing. Leslie, Nicole, and I are collaborating on a group right now, and we have a time scheduled that we're going to meet once a week to talk about our challenge group stuff and hold each other accountable to all of the other things that we've put on our calendar. So it's really important to hold yourself accountable and to create accountability. There's so many ways you can do that. Number 6 is to reflect and reevaluate often. I write mine in pencil. I highlight it in my colors, but I write it in pencil because if I need to change things, I need to change things. If I bit off more than I can chew, I bit off more than I can chew and I change it. And that's why I created the reflection pieces on the back to kind of guide that for myself. If by the end of the week I'm not hitting my goals, then this didn't work out and I need to figure out what I needed to change. Did I give myself too much unplugged time or not enough and I didn't recharge my batteries and grew resentful of my business? You really got to think about that stuff. Did I spend too much time creating graphics and not enough time listening to personal development? Where do my goals fall short and what can I do on here for the following week to make it better? Reflect, reevaluate often. And my final tip for time blocking is to give yourself grace. There was not one day in this past week that I did these perfectly, not one, especially this weekend with my daughter's accident. I don't know what happened. I didn't even look at this on Saturday and Sunday. I told Jackie, we sat down early to do some work before the call. I didn't look at my tracker. Like my Success Club tracker was empty yesterday and today and the day before. And I hadn't touched it until just now for today. It happens, but I'm reevaluating, I'm refocusing, I readjusted tomorrow's schedule to reflect the time that I have to make up a little bit because my family was my priority this weekend. It's okay. Give yourself grace. It's not set in stone. It's like what I say to my students all the time when they're writing. They get all freaked out about their essays and, oh, this and that. And I was like,
You can always revise. You can always make this better. Even if the grade is in and the marking period ended, you are not F. Scott Fitzgerald with a novel in Barnes & Noble. Like, no one is going to get mad at you if you have to change your writing another day to make yourself feel better. Your schedule is your schedule. Give yourself grace. You are not Oprah. You don't have a team of people waiting for your very, schedule to be exactly what it is and to get your plane to catch and your TV show spot fit in. You run your life. You run your family. You run your business. And if you have to change it up, you change it up. And you give yourself permission to do that, and you don't hold yourself to a standard that's unattainable. Anyway, those are my 7 tips. To go through them one more time. Number 1, your time should reflect your goals. That's probably most important. Number 2, make sure your time blocking is specific as you can. Maybe each night before you go to bed, you specify what the next day will look like in those time blocks you set. Number 3, schedule unplugged time. If you don't, you'll resent this wholeheartedly. Number 4, include personal development, implementation, and some ways to stay accountable, or you think our accountability call or tracking sharing is for you, let me know. Number 6, grace, and do so with a smile, and it'll work out. Anyway, that's those tips. What I wanted to invite everybody to do is an 11 and 22 challenge. I'll wrap us up at exactly 9:30. The goal is to send 11 new invites, as Jess said. It's really true, new invites. Be completely honest with yourself. If I could say while you're doing that, to remind yourself that with Success Club and all of that, this business has lag. So if you're showing up every day, it often is doing the work now for what's going to happen a month or 2 or 3, sometimes 6 down the road. So just because a goal didn't hit in December or January doesn't mean it's not going to be flourishing in February. I was listening to a Beachbody training the other day about Team Cup. And they said the dam is going to break eventually. You can only fill a dam with so much water before it breaks. And so keep putting drops in the bucket, keep reaching out, keep loving on people, keep sending them recipes and giving them thumbs up when they do something awesome, and get in their stories and get in their DMs and keep talking to them. And the dam is going to break eventually. The more you put in at one time, the faster that might happen for you. But remember, it has lag, and keep pushing to the end, and you never know what you're capable of. So kudos to everybody who pushed and pushed and pushed. Once you send 11 invites, whatever that looks like, if it's copy and pasting tonight because you want to get it done fast, then that's fine. Voicemails, whatever, I will be quiet and mute and all that stuff. But once you've sent your 11, sign off. But it's Team Cup month, so I want to hold you to it. I don't want your faces to disappear until you hit 11 invites. And if anyone has any current Success Club points, throw them in the chat. Teresa put something in here that's really important, and it goes to what Jess was talking about too, that the opposite of going all in, like that the business has lag, is also true. So when you pull back, that's going to show up in a couple of months from now too. So if you give in early in the month because you hit Success Club, you're not doing your future self a favor. So keep that in mind. Consistency, just consistency, that's key. Also, not sure if you guys read that, and I think you did. Robin's at 4, freaking amazing. Let's see, Teresa's at 6, and Becky's at 2. Love it. That on Friday night at 8 o'clock for the month, we're gonna run a 100 challenge or 100 invite challenge. It'll be this link, so you're welcome to join in. If you pop in late or leave early, whatever is up to you. But the goal is to send 100 unique invites in that time period. So start sharing, shareable content, noteworthy content, get conversation started, add followers, get a list going so that it'll make that easier for you.